My ecology teacher from 1990, everything he said was going to happen to the climate has now happened.
There it is. Thanks, Mr. Roland.
So it's my brain. Okay.
Can't unhear it.
This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum. This is a show about the 500 albums that Rolling Stone says are the best, and we're gonna talk about them ad nauseum.
Welcome to the Backwards Beats podcast. I'm Carl Carter Fansteel.
And I'm still Dan Woodard.
And we have a guest today.
We do.
Who are you?
Nate Danciger.
What are you doing here?
I'm here in an advisory capacity about the Spanish language mostly.
We accept. And here's why. We are listening to Manu Chao's album Clandestino, recorded and released, more importantly, in 1998. This album ranks where on Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time list?
469.
Nice.
Nice.
And weighs in just under 46 minutes long at 16 tracks? 16 tracks. We had a little snafu audio-wise earlier, so if you feel that I'm pushing the tempo, I'm just trying to make up for lost time here.
Yeah. So, really, Nathaniel, how did you come to be in our presence tonight?
Well, this is an album that I listened to in high school. I like this album. There's another one, Próxima Estación Esperanza, that came out after this that I like even more. But it's an album I'm very familiar with. And of course, as I said, I'm advising about Spanish. So I would say about 80% of this album was written in Spanish. So we're going to dive into the meaning and really analyze the lyrics more in this than maybe in some other podcasts, and we'll just kind of explore Spanish a little bit more.
Fantastic. On top of that, seems like you have some history lessons too you can bring to our attention.
I'd be happy to.
His text me, they said, I studied harder for this than my AP World History test or something like that.
Than Spanish. Yeah, honor Spanish 4. I actually did use one of the songs from this, Desaparecido, as a part of a Spanish language class. We had to present music, and I presented this. I don't think they knew what to make of it.
I mean, it's a great tune.
Yeah.
So you got that going for you.
I know.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the class was pretty happy.
Well, as per tradition, Daniel, walk us through what we've gotten ourselves into today.
So, to talk about Manu, we have to talk about the individual who was born as José-Manuel Thomas Arthur Chao. He was born in Paris, France in 1961 to Spanish and anti-Franco intellectuals. The family actually had to escape Franco. I believe his grandfather was sentenced to death.
Yes.
But we're not sure if he made it or not.
Right. We hope that they all escaped in time.
So.
But it definitely has a really strong influence on Manu Chao's politics and his view of the world. And you can see a lot of commentary about bad government in this album. There are a lot of specific passages about that.
Yeah, for sure. So basically lived in Paris for a long time. Manu is a polyglot for sure, speaks many languages.
I never knew that was the word for a multi-tongued person.
Polyglot. It literally means many-tongued.
Yeah.
Poly meaning many, glot meaning tongue.
You see that?
Like a glottal
Use my
stop.
intuition.
Glottal.
Glot?
Yeah. Like a glottal stop.
A glottal stop?
Yeah.
That's Boulder Dash. I've never heard any of this in my life.
You should talk to your sister about it. Vocalists would refer to that.
Yes.
There
it's
you
a
go.
vocalist term.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the cool people I hang out with, but not me. Understood.
Yeah, he speaks Spanish, French, Portuguese, a bunch of indigenous languages we've talked about here.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I looked up also Arabic, and as far as this album, and of course English is in this album as well. So I would say about 80% of the language in this is Spanish, and then there are 2 songs in French. There's no Arabic in this album that I'm aware of, or there's a little bit of like spoken word Arabic here and there, I think, in the background. And then there's a song in English as well. So 2 songs in English.
And Portuguese.
And there's a song in Portuguese.
Yeah. Specifically Brazilian Portuguese.
Brazilian Portuguese.
Nice.
And there's a difference.
And this album was created after Manu Chao's band Mano Negra broke up. And there are actually a lot of breakup themes in this album too about like romantic love, but I think we can kind of read the subtext that a lot of this had to do with the breakup of his band. And he started a tour of Mexico and Central and South America, bringing only his laptop. He used his laptop to record. He was a busker. He brings in a lot of ideas about street life and street music into this album, kind of establishing a texture in the background that has to do with his experiences traveling through Mexico, Central and South America. And I think it's really interesting to see how he modified his style of music. In Mano Negra, it was more like music that was influenced by The Clash. And, we were talking about this earlier, that influence kind of shifted because he took on a lot more of the Caribbean feel and the reggae feel of the music that he encountered in his travels.
Yeah, it's interesting. With Mano Negra, I can hear some of the Clash in there. There's a lot of ska influence. And there's another band that I can't remember the name of the track. I listened to some of the songs. I even get some Pixies vibes, like aesthetically on there. Not quoted as a reference, but it certainly felt that way to me.
Some of the evenings when I drive home from gigs, just here in Baltimore, I'm trying to remember what night it is. It's either Friday or Saturday night, but it's late night. Someone puts on this program called the Latin Alternative, and it's on either WTMD or whatever our NPR
I think it's
is.
TMD because I think you've mentioned this before on this podcast.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My God, it's the coolest show. And it goes to show how much, a lot of American alternative has kind of dripped in to the wider culture. Also how much we've probably taken out of it. But I will say I hear a lot of the same kind of sound in his presentation that you catch out of that. I alluded when we were talking before the show a little bit to some G Love and Special Sauce, who was kind of like a singy hip hoppy type of artist, but also always relied on a live band behind them. And I think what you get with the live band here is the live band will always change the color, right? Because you end up with 4, 5, 6 musicians to kind of paint the song versus just one person. So I'm not surprised the musical style changed based upon not only going solo, but the regions he hung out into.
Yeah, and when you think about this, you mentioned he went on tour. This tour was a result of the breakup and him being fairly depressed by this breakup. And you mentioned using the laptop to record, and sort of an unfortunate accident that occurred from this is this band had a lot more dance beats and other instrumentation to it, but essentially the laptop crapped out or the software crapped out. Again, the way it's interpreted or translated might be a little bit misleading, but basically lost all that information. And he ended up with, between the 40 or 50 songs that he had, at least pieces of, he ended up assembling this album from that without that additional instrumentation, which gives it much more a live feel. And he also did a lot of field recordings with that laptop as well that you hear a lot of on this album.
Are you talking about the street noise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably also the spoken word parts of it where like there are political speeches and there's maybe some of that was taken from the public realm. I'm not sure, but I think a lot of it was actually recorded, in situ as well.
Yeah, because part of his tour, he became sort of ingratiated in the Zapatistas movement, which is this, I guess, Marxist, for lack of a better term, movement out of Mexico that happened in the 90s in this time period. Started as a fairly violent revolution that got quashed and became a lot more, I guess, more civil in the way that they were going about trying to invoke change in Mexico.
Right. Yeah, there's actually there's a part of this album, I have it in my notes about which specific song it is, and we'll talk about it, but where there's kind of a political speech, and he says, shelter and food and clothing and justice and, our basic rights. These were all of our, these were our requests in the long 500 years before this, but now they are our demands.
Yeah.
And it's really, there's a certain strong tone. And I think that whenever in the album, when the pace kind of steps up a little bit and it becomes a little more chaotic and there's a lot more going on and the percussion is heavier and it gets a little bit more rapid, like sometimes there's this political message that's a little more forceful.
Yeah.
And it feels a little more revolutionary than your typical reggae album, because reggae is very political and revolutionary in its own way, but usually a little more laid back. And sometimes this album gets a little bit anxious and a little bit frantic in that way.
Yeah, I agree. And people have referred to him as like the next Bob Marley, which he does not like. He does not appreciate that reference, but you can see where they're coming from, with the tenor of the music.
And Bob Marley was a really big influence for him. Yeah. And he actually, in the next album after this, the one I'm even more familiar with, there's a song that's like Mr. Bobby, and it's all about Bob Marley. It's like singing to Bob Marley.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. I didn't get a chance to listen to that. It's on my list though.
Dug into this one pretty tight.
Yeah.
What other factoids can you share about this one?
This album didn't hit immediately. It wasn't really promoted. There wasn't a lot, people didn't know really what to do with it. But eventually, after about a year, it entered the French top 10.
That'll do.
And it stayed there for 5 years. Basically, the album has sold over 5 million copies worldwide.
5 times Platty.
5 times Platty. Yep. Actual platinum.
America's platinum.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that before when we were speaking earlier. It's really funny because there are actually only 2 French songs in this whole album.
I know.
It's funny that it hit the top, in France.
Yeah. Well, probably because he's a local guy.
He's local, yeah.
And they're good songs.
No, it's good. I think you can appreciate. I mean, you guys tell me. Can you appreciate this music without understanding every word of every Spanish song that's in it?
I certainly can.
Yes, I think
Which
so.
is interesting because we have struggled with some of the other Spanish artists. But
Yeah,
maybe
I think this is musically valuable, though. I mean, it's not just the lyrics; it's also the music and the way that the instrumentation works and the layering of the music.
Yeah, this feels like you can almost feel the message. You don't know what he's talking about all the time. A lot of these songs are in minor. They're not necessarily happy, but they're not happy. Most of these songs, there's not a lot of happy songs on this album at all. No. But the minor doesn't make it sound sad.
No, it makes it sound soulful. If I were busking, this is how I'd like to think I'd sound.
Yeah.
There's something about a backbeat and some kind of fun, clever, rhythmic words and a decent singing voice and kind of a mixed media landscape, because it's not always reggae. And even when you listen to the Latin beats that are Latin inspiration on some of these beats, or even the French inspiration on some of these beats, what you end up with is not anything that's like canon. Like, you don't get straight soca's or anything like that. Everything's just kind of a little jazzy in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's kind of important to remember with this too, as far as understanding the lyrics and the way it relates to the music and all of the kind of the minor keys that a lot of the songs are in, and how a lot of it sounds kind of sad. Sometimes it sounds sad and it's actually not that sad in what he's saying, and then sometimes he kind of plays with that tension between what he's saying and what the tone of the music is. We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, and one thing, when we talked about Daddy Yankee, I brought up rhythmic pacing of languages that you don't necessarily understand, and how sometimes a foreign language sounds faster that you don't understand sounds faster than.
It's a matter of efficacy.
Yeah. So because you're not hearing the word breaks, you're hearing the syllable breaks. And we talked about that with Daddy Yankee. And this one here, he plays with rhythm in such an interesting way that the lyrical content does not sound overwhelming. And as someone who understands some Spanish, I was able to understand a lot more of this album because of the way he plays with rhythm.
Right. And also, that's a good point. And I would also say, as far as the way he's using language, is that Manu Chao, as someone who speaks, I would say he speaks French and Spanish at a native level. He speaks English very well, but with an accent. And he speaks Brazilian Portuguese. I'm not sure how well. I don't speak that much of it myself. But I would say that he really plays off of those languages together. He will actually rhyme a word in English with a word in French or a word in Spanish. He'll rhyme languages off of each other, which is really playful and interesting. And it's something that only a true polyglot songwriter would be able to do. And I think it makes it super effective because if you don't understand one of the languages he just said, you can still hear the rhyme that he made with the other language and you can understand that part.
I think it's inviting because that caught my ear anytime it happened. And the funny part is it caught my ear in tongues I didn't know. But I was like, that's not the same language. Because he doesn't do it a ton with the English, but it didn't matter to me because there's just something so cool about phrasing. That it just happens, and musically, I don't care what the value is assigned to your mouth shape and the amount of syllables it is. It's like drumming at times, and also if you're singing alongside it, there's a lot that goes into that as well. And so I think this is a pleasant listen up and down.
Yeah.
Whereas in some other stuff that we've listened to, it's been a little chewy at times.
It has. And one thing I just want to kind of reiterate with what you said around polyglots is I work with a lot of people from India, and they all speak 4 or 5 languages, and rarely are they speaking any one language at any one time. At a certain point, they basically just like start throwing whatever words make sense and are easiest to get the point across, which seems mind-boggling to me. That at any one time they could be speaking Hindi or Telugu or what have you, right. And because there's like 110 languages in India.
Well, I lived in Miami for 9 years, and I was with people all the time who spoke, some of them spoke only Spanish, some of them spoke only English, but most of the people that I knew spoke both.
Spoke Spanglish?
And they spoke Spanglish as well. And so that kind of mixing was very common. I could definitely imagine them making some kind of joke that crosses between the languages. That would be very natural for them.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what Manu Chao is doing as well. And then I think he's also doing that stylistically with, when he's doing things that have to do with reggae, ska, and then one of the songs that we'll hear that actually has a traditional Spanish song sampled into it.
Yes,
it's La Llorona. So we'll talk about that. So he's really blending a lot of different styles in this.
Yeah.
That one felt like I needed to laugh at it when I first heard it. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we scoot on over?
I think we're good.
All right. We'll catch you after these sponsors.
Hey, girlie. Are you the kind of fan who can't settle for the cheap seats? The kind who needs to be closer? Closer than the front row? Closer than sneaking past security and into the green room? Closer than hiding in the dumpster by the tour bus because the head of security knows your name and will eject you on sight? Do you have a tattoo of their high school yearbook photo, inked backwards so you can see it clearly in the mirror? Do you make pillowcases out of every sweaty towel you catch so that way you can smell your obsession's essence? Do you know the dog's birthday, the kid's school schedule, and the exact time their plane will touch down just so you can be the first one there? Introducing Groupie Glue, the ultimate tool for securing your obsession. Each tube contains a concentrated cocktail of pheromones, microencapsulated neuropeptides, and trace compounds derived from human sweat proteins designed to influence neurological compliance. Groupie Glue bonds to any surface, fabric, skin, leather, tour merch, and becomes more effective with repeated exposures. Reapply nightly to sheets, backstage passes, or the inside of your jacket. The effect will intensify. They'll find themselves sharing secrets, laughing at your jokes, and even let you linger in rooms that they swore were off limits, all without realizing why. Groupie Glue, because obsession is only worth it when it's irreversible.
And so I just spit it back into her hand. And I said, thanks for the time.
I think that's what you do. You know, most dentists will appreciate that.
Yeah, but remember, this was my proctologist.
Right.
Anyway, being 40 sucks. So we got to get into some songs here. The album Clandestino only rolls 45, 46 minutes, and it's 16 songs. So lots of tracks, short tunes, but I think he gets his point across quite a bit. It opens up on its title track with a mere 134 million listens. Not a bad way to go.
No, it's not. The song is called Clandestino. The song is in Spanish. This whole album is apropos of today, meaning this song is about illegal immigration, and the clandestinos are illegal immigrants. I think in the spirit, as we've said, you know, about most likely people seeking refuge, people coming from poorer countries.
Same thing in America. Sorry.
True. That's true. That's true. But I don't know. I love the feel and overall vibe of this song, but it is, you know, we talked about the first time we recorded this. It starts off somewhat abruptly.
Yeah, it has this white noise beginning, so it's kind of like a radio clicking on where someone's about to make an announcement. It just kind of leaves you with this white noise for a little bit, and I think that's an interesting way to play with your expectations. And I actually would also say that it is like the end of the album.
I was going to ask
because
you,
the end of the album in El Viento, it ends with the sound of the wind. So
Right.
the thing starts with white noise, like someone's about to make an announcement on the radio. It ends with this kind of white noise of the wind blowing. Mm-hmm. And I think in that, he's really playing with your expectations about what an album should have. It doesn't have this big start. It doesn't have this amazing finish. It's like just kind of fades in and out of your awareness.
Yeah, well, especially that last song. It's like almost a minute of wind.
Yeah, it's a lot of wind. Yeah, which I guess we'll get to at the end. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of interesting. And then you know, he has a lot of echoes in the background, like echoing sounds, street noise. You know, this is all an allusion to his time as a busker and, you know, kind of traveling around Mexico, Central America, South America, probably a little bit into the Caribbean, but that's really mostly in the next album. He gets into that and he does like a more Caribbean thing. But also, you know, it has to do with the life of the street, and he brings that life of the street into this album a lot.
Yeah, and he talks about a lot of things that are illegal, including the one word that most of us who don't speak Spanish understand.
Marijuana.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ganja theme here, y'all. And he makes a point to mention it, though. I think that we all agree that there's a comparison going on here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That, you know, marijuana being illegal and immigration being illegal in certain contexts, you know, I think he's drawing a comparison there. I think he's kind of using marijuana as an example of how sometimes laws can be unjust. And he's trying to explain how like laws are unjust about marijuana. They're also unjust about, you know, about immigration. And he's kind of trying to make that parallel.
Yeah. I was really stoked to hear a title track open up as a chill reggae song.
Yeah. In minor.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Often some are.
Yep.
My favorite reggae songs are generally minor.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, I think that there was this very cool cadence he had going on. It was that spoken, swung, half hip-hoppy, but also well-sung kind of blend of funky artists I really enjoy out of everything from the Southern California type of vibe, you know, where you'd pull like the 311 and the Sublime with, or from all the way over to the aforementioned Clash, who was doing that kind of really kind of cool loose tongue thing. You could tie this to all sorts of great roots. And, you know, if you look at 98, you know, he was pulling from, you know, obviously his lifestyle, but 92 to 96 is kind of where my mindset is. And that's some of my favorite music of the 90s was written right in there. Think about what the Chili Peppers were doing, right? Like, think about how how genres were blending and access to music was getting larger. Never as large as streaming services per se, but it was really easy to get your hands on good music at like a Tower Records type of establishment.
I miss Tower Records so much.
Rip.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny because you mentioned Chili Peppers. For me, Blood Sugar Sex Magic is their magnum opus, but I understand what you're saying.
For sure. And that's my favorite album of all time from them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think One Hot Minute dropped in like 96 or something like that.
And people shouldn't crap on that one. There's some good
You certainly can't. Walkabout is an impeccable song.
Yeah.
And Anthony Kiedis' flow never changed. And I think that's what I'm highlighting here is he took so much from like Funkadelic, but he also took so much from like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
And, you know, you look at just the way he blended words, it's really cool to see someone who can kind of do the sing but also rap. It's like singing with like a lot of focus on what you're doing rhythmically over your track.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
The backbeat reggae chords aren't doing anything that aren't predictable. So like
It's almost a loop.
the curse of it is a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it is loops. But you know, there's a lot of connection here with, you know, his reggae roots and like in the lyrics too with Perdido en el corazón de la grande Babilón. So like that's lost in the heart of the great Babylon. And when he's talking about Babylon, it's like, you know, relates to that reggae idea of Babylon as the oppressor, as, you know, kind of the man trying to keep everyone down. And also in, you know, Judeo-Christian traditions, it has to do with like, you know, evil and, you know, the large corrupt governments that, you know, form in the world periodically. And, you know, there's a lot of connections there. So when he says Babylon, he's really trying to bring together a lot of themes from different sources, you know, biblical sources, reggae sources.
You have like a philosophical double entendre.
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yes, and then there's also another lyrical thing I'd like to dive into here quick, which is, you know, that he says, pa una ciudad del norte yo me fui a trabajar. So for a city in the north, I went to work. Mi vida la dejé entre Ceuta y Gibraltar. So that's, I left my life between Ceuta and Gibraltar. And Ceuta is a part of Spain that is attached to Morocco. So it's on the African continent. And then across the water, you have Gibraltar, which is a part of, it's actually a British territory that is attached to mainland Spain. So, you know, he's playing with these ideas of like double identities, different identities, overlapping territories, and the fact that this character, the person who's speaking, is an immigrant who's caught in the midst of all of that.
It's almost like there is no home because of how folded that is.
Yeah. But I also feel like there's a bit of, for lack of a better term, like wanderlust in the album that wherever he is, he's home, even if he's displaced all the time.
It's so funny you say that because I feel that like overwhelmingly. And I guess it's you putting words to it right now that really reinforces that. Not that I ever knew that that's what he said, but the album, when you listen through, feels well traveled.
Yeah, what's interesting too is that I listened to a lot of this album when I was in high school and I was just learning Spanish for the first time. And it was actually when I was in my second year I was in my sophomore year of high school and I was learning, you know, I was in Spanish 2. And so I didn't know that much Spanish, but I listened to this album. And now when I listen to it, knowing a lot more, I actually understood what he was saying without even understanding what he was saying. Like that's how good the music connection was with the meaning, that I feel like just with a few things here and there, you understand, like you get it. You get what he's trying to say.
It has to be subtle though, because I'm not here to knock this album musically. In fact, quite the opposite. I really appreciate that he's not going out of his way to try and play crazy musical stuff.
Some of the songs are only 2 or 3 chords.
Most of the songs are only 2 or 3 chords.
A lot of them are just really simple.
Yeah, but they're like choice, and it like down to like, do I use my fingers or a pick on the guitar?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a very clean listen. It's like a perfect board with cheese, bread, and good olive oil on it, and like you don't need much else. I think it just makes for a really great foundation.
I agree. And one thing that is interesting about the end of this song is, you know, most of these songs bleed together And this one finishes with what I believe is the sound from the video game Galaga, which is like the bees dropping down. As a lifelong Galaga player who actually has an arcade machine he built with his son at his house, I know that sound well. I could not confirm it via the internet, but I believe it in my soul that's what it is.
That's the Galaga. I mean, it's one of many, many samples, I'm sure.
And you're talking about the pew kind of sound.
That's what I'm talking
right?
about.
Yeah.
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 Classic 8-bit audio.
There's a lot of those kinds of sound effects in this album, and I believe that the role of that is to kind of lighten the mood or something, or to kind of take you out of the seriousness of the subject about, all these really political and hard-hitting themes. And actually, one thing we'll get to in a later part of this album that I just want to say now is that there's a pretty strong theme about climate change as well. And this was from 1998. So it was definitely in the time when people were talking about it, but it was pretty early in a way. And he actually has this whole speech about that. So there's a lot of those kinds of themes. And then he juxtaposes that with like pew and all these little sound effects and things to just, I don't know what, lighten the mood or can take you out of it.
I guess so, because this next song is dark.
I was going to say, to lighten the mood is a statement as we move in.
It's like the comic relief before they hit you with
but I will say this. My ecology teacher from 1990, everything he said was going to happen to the climate has now happened.
There it is. Thanks, Mr. Roland.
Yeah.
I'm sure Greta was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
So
should we move into song numero dos?
Yeah. And it is called...
Well, I'll defer it. I don't have to...
Well, Carl ain't doing it.
Yeah.
It is called Desaparecido.
Oh, I would have botched that so hard.
Translates to the disappeared, I believe.
The disappeared one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Couple notes here musically first, which is where my ears always go. Tempo picks up, and we start to catch more of like a Latin flair than the reggae flair that was still evident.
Yeah, there's reggae, but much more Latin.
Yeah, it's not like roots reggae.
Yeah.
Which I like until I read the lyrics.
And how about that high-pitched repeated riff that's really twangy, that's like...
Yeah, that to me actually screams Latin.
Yeah, no, it does, but it's really repeated a lot in this song. It's
you could argue it's West African at that point.
It's a very steady...
You want to hear 7 minutes of the same guitar line?
Yeah, exactly.
Look no further
in
West Africa.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic when he uses an effect. I don't mind where that falls in the mix. Yeah.
And there's also a lot of this is Manu Chao's voice, so they he's playing a lot with the effects on his voice. Mm-hmm. So in this one, he puts on a lot more reverb on the voice, and throughout the album, he's constantly changing the room and kind of the situation around his voice, and then layering his voice with other versions of his voice that are kind of different flavors. So I think that's interesting because it definitely makes the album more interesting to listen to.
The first tune felt much more intimate than this. This one almost invokes a little more of like a dance. I don't want to say like a dance groove, but it does, honestly.
Well, I say this.
Go get him. Get him, Daniel.
We'll get it later. But when we talk about the disappeared, what I had heard is this is more about victims of forced disappearances in Latin America. And there's some interesting lyrical content in here that it feels like someone, again, who is forced to disappear because they're being persecuted. But do you have any more context on that?
I never got that. This is, it's basically, it says, me llaman el desaparecido. So they call me the disappeared one. Yep. And then he's like, when I arrive, I've already gone, coming, I'm flying, coming here, I'm flying, going, quickly, my direction is lost. When they find me, I'm not here. When they look for me, I'm not here. When they find me, I don't exist. And so it could be about that, but I feel like the tone is doesn't make me think of that. So I think it's more like being a nomad. I think it's more like he feels like a nomad, and this is, they're saying like, because then he also says,
Cuando llegare.
a lot. He also says, that they call me the ungrateful one, but that's not the truth. I have in my body a pain that doesn't let me breathe. I have in my body a sentence that makes me always have to walk.
Oh wow!
So he's talking about how he's a nomad. It's like it's like a rambling man kind of thing. It's like I was born a rambling man, except more morose and more, Latin.
Well, that phrase, the first one, you could almost be like, "Oh, you're slick." Like,
yeah,
like you could almost take it as you're boasting, or like you have this impunity, But then you move over to that second phrase, and he's like, No. Like, I'm not taking advantage of your town. Like, this is my curse in a way, right?
Yeah. And then at the end, he says, perdido en el siglo, so lost in the century, the 20th century, going towards the 21st century. Yeah. When will I arrive? That's what cuando llegaré means. It's when will I arrive?
There's so many quandos on this album, and I heard every one of them.
Because you knew that
I was
word?
like, got it. I was like, what's the DiCaprio meme on the couch? Like, it was me. I was like, hey.
I know that word.
Yeah, I think this is a great follow-up track to the first, and the numbers would support it.
Yeah.
Only falls down.
This is my number one.
This is your number one?
Album, yes. This is the one I like the best.
The best song on the album?
Yes, this is my favorite song
on the
album.
Oh my God, you hear me call on the second song.
This is top 3 for me.
It's a top 3 for me too. I like the groove a lot. I like the energy pickup. I think it's well placed. I think it's underserved at only 90 million listens. Okay, cool.
No,
we move. I'll take this one. Song number 3. Welcome to Bongo Bong.
So my first question about this song is, where are the bongos?
I don't think he meant bongo in the most bongo-ass way, but I do love that I understood the words in this song.
It's an inglés.
I know.
Yeah.
That's English for I know.
Yeah. To me, this song sounds like Cake meets the Wolfman song Disco Snails.
Disco Snails. The song of the summer, baby. My son's third favorite song behind Africa by Toto and Devo's Whip It. I'm sad both those made it in a liner. But good on you, Wolfman, for getting Disco Snails in here. Yeah. He has a guest star in there too. I don't remember his name. Reminded me of Beck.
Okay, yep.
Dry presentation. I was trying to think of someone of the time. Mm-hmm. I really like it. This is a top 3 for me. And not because it's in English, because I think it's grabbing some kind of thing that's going on popular at the time.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very lo-fi track.
Oh, that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Hence Beck.
I think that knowing everything that we've already talked about with the themes of this album, if you listen to the lyrics of the song, you will understand as an English speaker, you will just get what this album is all about. There's a certain plucky pride in like being a nomad and being a street performer and being from multiple countries and like being of the world and like a traveler of the world that's in this. And also being proud of being an immigrant, because you have to remember Manu Chao is also an immigrant. Like he both of his parents are Spanish. Right. It can't be that easy growing up in France when both of your parents are Spanish. There's a lot of rivalry there.
Yeah.
So, he's saying how much he relates. I think in this, he's saying how much he relates to people who come from places like African countries, people who are musicians like him. This is like his real anthem about that.
Yeah. And I don't think he used the bongo literally per se. I think he just chose a drum that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also bong.
I mean,
because it relates to marijuana.
There's no question. There's no question that was chosen for what it is.
Do you think he has a bong made out of a bongo?
A bongo bong, yeah. A bong made out of a bongo, yeah.
I think he's fashioned a bongo into a bong.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
That's a...
I mean, we could
get
that done tonight. How much duct tape do we have?
How much duct tape?
You're in so much trouble, Nathaniel. This song's fun and down the middle in my mind. Not fun maybe in content so much because it does really have him going, King of Bongo, but as no one likes my song.
And then it changes, and then everyone likes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So I there's a little victory here. I don't know that I take it that serious, and therefore I accept it.
Yeah, I think this is the most lighthearted song in the whole album.
It's also the most popular song in the whole album.
Yeah, and I think it serves an important role where, I remember one of my best friends in high school, when I said that I liked Manu Chao, he was like, oh, you like Bongo Bong? And I'm like, Just because that's the one song that you understand in the album doesn't mean that it's like that's the song, you know? It's just that's a fun song. It's a fun song
I
that
like
they
the
put in
spirit
there.
of this song, and it would be a weird one for any of us to try and rewrite. Like, what do you call this genre?
Well, it does have has a sample in it, a reggae sample of "Bull in the Pen" by Black Uru, the reggae band Black Uru.
Yep.
Off the album Anthem.
Okay.
And it's a pretty direct sample.
Pretty clean, not manipulated.
Yeah.
I mean, good on him. Throw together a tune and stick it number 3 on your album and go get those 264 million listens.
Did you? I'm sure you guys noticed the chime that keeps repeating. It's like a notification sound.
Yeah.
That's inside. It's like not annoying, but it's very hard to ignore.
Oh, well, so I was listening AirPods my first time and like literally pulled my phone out of my pocket.
And you're like, oh, where's my notification?
There's also a little girl who speaks in this album earlier, and you feel like she's standing right behind you.
Yeah,
It freaks me out every time.
The sound levels are pretty creative in this, where like it is very immersive somehow. Like it really feels like these things are happening around you.
There's some pretty hard panning. Later, he does it in effect on his voice way later in the album. It's a little cheesy. He like hard one, hard other, middle, and then like saturates back with some reverb.
Mm-hmm.
But the soundscapes, like when you're in the streets, they're doing a really good job on that.
And if you like this kind of chimes thing with like all of the different sound effects, then the next album that he does, Próxima Estación Esperanza, is actually, it has a lot of that, and it has a lot of like airport sounds, because a lot of the idea is like you're in an airport and you know you're in like a station of some kind and you're hearing announcements and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And then also this is where in this song he brings in the swelling background horns.
Yeah.
Which are they real horns? Do you guys know?
I don't know. I mean, they're horn players on the album.
Yeah.
They sound
like a sample,
non-sampled to me.
Well,
I mean, they're flat. Well, so if they are sampled, maybe they put or maybe if they're live, they put a low or a high pass filter on them.
Yeah.
They sound like real attack to me. So whether it was cut off a jazz album somewhere,
right. I'd say sampled, not MIDI.
Not digital. It's not a digital horn.
This is either a player who played a live horn, and then they did something to tape, or they grabbed it off of a tape with horn. But no, this is not a Roland keyboard doing
Or
it.
The horn players on the album just played into his Lenovo ThinkPad mic or whatever he was using.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So it
Like
sounds
you
low
overdrive
quality.
it. Yeah.
It does sound kind of low quality. I thought I put here digital horns because I didn't even know. But then I think it's worth noting that the end of this song leads directly into Je ne t'aime plus, which is the next song. So like those two are almost part of the same song.
It's the same loop.
Seamless because the loop continues and it just goes right into it.
The cool part is though, now we move into a tune where he speaks
Français.
français.
En français.
Uh-huh.
I don't love you anymore.
Yes, indeed. And this song quite popular as well. 110 mil.
Yes, that's
on
the
this.
English translation.
Huh?
That's the English translation.
I have that in my notes.
But you also took French.
I don't love you anymore.
Once upon a time.
I love how it just repeats, I don't love you anymore, my love. I don't love you anymore every day. I don't love you anymore, my love. Mm-hmm. And he just keeps repeating that. It's like, I think you're protesting too much.
And she's like, are you wasted?
Yeah.
But then he has, I'm not going to try to butcher this French here, but the translation is, sometimes I like to die. So even though he's owning it, he's not thrilled about it.
No, there's something sadder. It does feel kind of waltzy to you.
Well, it still has a bum, 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 bum,
I mean,
bum,
yeah.
bum, ba-dum,
But
bum.
without being like,
Yeah.
you know, like a proper. It feels like a dream state in that sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you move over to French for some reason, because my stupid American brain, you end up with this whole new language, and you have essentially a waltz. You have a love song that sounds nothing like anything we've heard so far.
Yeah.
It's almost like you got punched in the face and like, you know.
And a female singer joins.
Yep.
Indeed.
Which is also worth noting from a musical perspective. It's so funny. I have my analysis of the lyrics is like several pages long here, and then my analysis of the music is like I'm going to leave it up to you guys. So then I just said female singer joins, and there's layered singing together, and the chime that was in the other one does persist in this. So he's really trying to connect these two songs for whatever reason. Bongo Bong and Je ne t'aime plus don't really seem related to me, but he musically combines them.
Maybe this is the moment. Ooh, as a performing musician, I have a theory. You go out, you perform your show. You're not with your person. You come home to something you call home. Sometimes that's a person. Home doesn't have to be a physical place, right? Home might be.
As this album.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so you come home to that person and they're disappointed that you weren't there with them, or you're trying to explain yourself, or maybe you made a mistake. That might be a connection here. I more than once have apologized for being out a little too late or being a little too luscious when I get back. Mm-hmm. And I know that feeling. It could feel like this.
Yeah, life doesn't change. The situation changes.
That's exactly right. And to flow one into another, I could be having a great time, and a half hour later find myself not having such a great time.
Yeah.
Love you, Kate.
maybe that's a lot of the point, is to Bongo Bong being the mood high point of the entire album, going into one of the darkest songs in it. Really, it doesn't sound that dark, but he is saying, that, sometimes I'd like to die so much. I wanted to believe. Sometimes I'd like to die so I don't have anything left. Sometimes I'd like to die and never see you again. I don't love you anymore, my love.
Oof.
Yeah.
This is pretty dark.
Oof.
Pretty dark. Probably the darkest thing in the album, because it's not dark in a political way where it's like, why can't we figure this climate change thing out? It's like more personal because it's love. It's talking about relationships.
And don't be mistaken. Putting the female on the track really puts the cherry on that.
Yeah, it's slow dancing in the burning room of this album.
Manu. Well put, Daniel. All right, so we scoot over to song number 5. How do I say it?
Let me see it. Mentira.
Mentira? Okay, cool.
It means lie.
Yeah,
like
I
to
got
tell
that.
a lie.
One of the longer tunes here. We're almost kicking up towards the 5-minute mark.
Mm-hmm. And mentira is repeated a lot.
A gazillion times.
Yes. Because translated, what I have is lie is what they're saying, lie is what they're giving, lie is what they're doing, lie is what they are going to. The lie. And then the lie, the La Mentira, has a really interesting vocal sort of melody that comes to it, because
kind of haunting.
Yeah.
We've been a few different versions of him, and none of them are like the guy I want to go have a party with.
I think this is the man they're referring to, obviously.
This song is, for me, is like rife about like corruption, right? Lack of integrity by probably institutions, I want to say at this point.
Yeah, and then it gets into another refrain. So like mentira, and then it says like mentira el amor. So love is a lie. Mentira el sabor. The taste is a lie. Mentira la que manda. It's a lie what they command. It's a lie who commands. And then he says more about lying. And then todo es mentira en este mundo means everything is a lie in this world.
Yeah.
And todo es mentira la verdad means like everything is a lie. This is the truth. Like this, what I'm saying is the truth.
Oh, damn.
So then
is this the new Black Flag?
This is Henry Rollins.
and then he gets in, after he goes through that for a while, he gets into this sample of Llorona. No si al corazón peca Llorona, en harás en un tierno amor, te quiero más que a mi vida Llorona. So I love you more than my life, Llorona. What more do you want? ¿Qué más quieres? What more do you want? ¿Quieres más? You want more? And that's a traditional song that is a very traditional, one of the most traditional, I think specifically Mexican love songs. And he samples it in this really weird, clashing way underneath everything he's just been doing. And he keeps the loops going, but then he samples Llorona and it works. Like it somehow works at the original. I don't know how he did that. It was really strange. And it just... it's very creepy. It's like a very creepy moment. And Llorona is actually about, like, it's based on a folktale about a woman who I think like accidentally kills her baby, and it's like this whole creepy thing. But basically, that's the Llorona sample,
the lyrical sample.
Yeah,
because there's another sample here, which is "Tell Me It's True" by UB40. That's there's like these guitar things that are kind of
what
like,
that was. I knew I recognized it.
Yeah,
UB40 is the most popcorn ass reggae you can pull.
But if you listen to that song, actually, that I actually listened to the song because it's such a weird. Because at first I'm like, there's a lot of information in this song with background guitar, maybe mandolin, kind of hitting my ears. And I go listen to the sample. It's all the UB40 song. The UB40 song, it's not Red Red Wine.
Sure.
It's.
I'm just saying between them, they're why did fool or what is it? Wise men say only those. I can't help falling in love with you.
Well, that's Elvis.
I know they covered it, right. And then they also covered "Baby I Love Your Way."
Yeah.
No, that's Big Mountain.
Yeah.
But it sounds just like UB40. It may as well be. I'm putting you in the same boat.
Yeah. Well, tell me it's true. You should check that. It's a cool song.
All right, I will. UB40. I'll give you a fair swing.
And then lyrically or just even verbally, after Llorona as a sample, which I think was kind of interesting the way he incorporated that. He then has this news report in Spanish about how this morning the Kyoto, Japan, the international conference about climate change has started. And he's talking, and it's a report. It's a quite long report talking all about the Kyoto conference, which a lot of people have heard about. Actually, it's even these days, it's a pretty well known one. And that the United States, the country that's responsible for a quarter of the emissions, is not a good model of reference.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's a criticism of the U.S. there, even though he doesn't really approach the United States that much in this album. He has a little dig in there.
If you were to recap the song, is it potentially a tune where we have lies, corruption. This is him laying into setting the stage about his disappointment in the condition of global treatment of our universe. Addressing Mother Nature in a love song and then airing the Kyoto broadcast. Is that what he might be doing?
That very well could be. I forgot about the Mother
because he's
Nature
artistic enough. I think we figured out.
Well, you really hit it on the head, because in, I think, the next song or one of the next songs coming up, he literally says he's talking about Mother Earth. Yes! Mother Earth, I see you there crying. Mother Earth, like he's talking to Mother Earth. So yes,
there you go.
I think you are correct.
That would be, and I swear to God.
See, this is the universality of music, that you got that even though you didn't understand.
Because I had eloquent translator. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thoughtful friend researcher.
Yeah.
No, that's not so hard to do, because when you have a dichotomy, right? When you have like such a play against this horrible thing, lies, corruptions, everything's a lie, into love, you can kind of pinpoint, you triangulate what the topic is going to be. The Kyoto thing seals the deal. And so, I'm so sorry, Mother Nature. I hate everything else that's causing this. Let me just make it official. And you just gave us the next tune.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk. We are going into song number 6.
Lágrimas de Oro.
Lágrimas de Oro. Tears of Gold.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Did I?
You nailed it.
That's good.
Yeah, right.
I'm jealous. Let me get a bongo bong again.
So, Tears of Gold. We all talked over each other here. Yeah.
Yeah, Tears of Gold.
We pick up the pace
And
a bit
I think
here.
literally Carl just said it. Does this sound familiar? Was this something you just said? As part of your explanation? It's not your fault, my love, that the world is so ugly. That was literally something. There was like something you were saying about that.
I was getting there. I don't
It's
say
like
this.
not your fault. It was like talking to Mother Earth, like the whole thing, and then like it's not your fault, and I'm sorry what we've done to you. And
That sounds about
all
right.
that. So like
I'll take credit for all of that.
So tú no tienes la culpa, mi amor, que el mundo sea tan feo means you don't have the fault, or it's not your fault, my love, that the world is so ugly. And then the next part is, it's not your fault, my love, that there is so much shooting.
Oh,
And then he kind of pivots. He pivots a little bit, and he's talking about, violence between people as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah, instead of just
You're allowed
violence
to be sad
against
about
the
more than one
earth.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, but what's interesting here is our tempo picks up,
Yes, it does.
and we have this da-da-da sort of rhythm that's going
This is
on.
a top
Rhythmic
3 for
guitar
me.
part.
This is a top 3 for me.
Yeah.
That's what I put in there.
Yeah,
And then also the horns come back, and they're stronger this time and more insistent.
yeah.
That's something else that happens here.
And here's an example of lyrically where he's playing with the time a little bit. He's the lyrics are not rapid fire.
No.
And so you could really, if you knew a hint of Spanish, like I heard words that I understood. I knew like the world is so ugly. I got that.
Cuando.
I don't know if he says cuando.
He's getting by on cuando.
Yes, I knew feo for sure. And but then all of a sudden, the voiceover that's sample is muy rápido. Like there is something going on in the background, which is I don't know how like what's happening there. Did you dig into the background like voiceover thing that's happening?
Oh, I couldn't understand that. That was too fast for me.
That was insane.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if it was even sped up because I've heard a lot of people speaking Spanish and it gets fast, but that was like
auctioneer. Yeah,
that was like an auctioneer or a rapper or like like someone who's incredibly good at speaking quickly, or just artificially sped up.
Yeah,
it's that person at the end of commercials who's like, in terms of pie.
Oh, by the end of the time I was living in Miami, so I was there for 9 years, and by the end of that time, it got to the point where I could understand on Spanish radio what they were saying at the end.
Okay.
When they got fast.
That's how you're like,
when they did the disclaimer. When they did the disclaimer, when I first understood the disclaimer, I was like, oh my God.
I made it.
I've leveled up.
I'm now thinking in Spanish.
Yeah, I can understand the disclaimer. That's like the true
so
test.
Jealous.
But yeah, so yeah, he basically saying like go through the street crying tears of gold. And it's a lot of it is about, tears of gold and that, it's not your fault that the world is so terrible. And then he gets into this other part where he's like, suena mi pueblo, suena la razón. So like, let my village, which in Spanish, pueblo means like my people too. It's not like village. It's not village like just the village. It's actually your people, know? And,
is it like barrio fino?
It's like barrio. It's like barrio kind of, but yeah, it's like, and then suena la razón, like let reason ring. Mm-hmm. And then it gets into this repetition of lágrimas de oro. So that's kind of from a lyrical standpoint. That's pretty much it for this song. It's pretty simple.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a fan.
I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Here's an easy one, Carl. What's the song called?
Mama Call.
Yeah, Mama Call.
Mama Call is gonna duck down to just shy of 22 million listens, weighing at 2 point. I wouldn't do point. 2 minutes 21 seconds.
Song's mostly in English.
I was, I got along with this one.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go. Mama Call is dope.
Yeah.
So one thing that's kind of interesting about Mama Call is that there's a little hint in here about what's happening, like what the context is that's in Spanish, which is towards the end when he's saying "Me hielo la habitación, no tengo calefacción." So it's freezing. My room is freezing. I don't have any heat. And then he says, can't get no satisfaction. He says it kind of in the same way. So he rhymes satisfaction in English with that's what I was talking about earlier with the rhyming between languages with calefacción and he's like, can't get no satisfaction.
Yep.
And then he's like, so in English, me bajo pa la calle, which means so I'm going down into the street. So that's where you get a little sense of the narrative where like he's a guy, he's up in his room, his heat is out, he just goes out and wanders in the street.
Yes,
And it's a long night.
I disagree entirely.
You disagree?
He's asking for someone to come to his room.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense,
It's the
actually.
most Mick Jagger ass thing you can do.
I don't have
about
any
it.
heat.
I don't have the heat, so I'm
I
going to
can't
go
get
to
no
the street. I'm
satisfaction.
going to catch me some.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what he's saying.
It's a long
Mama
night.
Call.
Yeah, you're right.
It's upbeat. It's playful.
Yeah.
It's flirty.
Yeah.
Come on.
And It's a Long Long Night is almost ASMR when he's
Yeah.
really up on the mic.
Like this is a person who's yearning for someone.
Yeah, he goes between like in this album he goes between like, I'm an undocumented immigrant, just like trying to scrape by, and like, yeah, I'm a cool young guy, and I want to go out. And like, he goes between those two a lot. Actually,
you're allowed to be both.
You're allowed to be both.
Everybody wants that love,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And I think this is, a reinforcement at this point in this out. Remember, since the first tune, we've been kind of descending down a hole of content. If you look at like the positivity or the light factor, not so great.
This isn't necessarily light either.
I wouldn't say it's light. I will say, because I mean, being on your own is not light.
Right.
Yeah,
But
you're right. No, I read through the lyrics
this
again.
one moves.
You're absolutely right. This is
a booty call.
like I'm going out in the street
I'm
to
gonna
find
find me
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Has to be.
That's true. I never saw it that way because honestly, this song, it's like it almost doesn't have enough context for me to like, even though it's in English. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like the Spanish ones were easier because they were
but
more.
the hook is like quirky.
Yeah, it's quirky. Yeah,
And I mean,
it's very repetitive and very simple in its lyrics too.
it's
so,
a club song in that
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's like a club
and that's
song.
fine. And you got to think on the the lost laptop files. Maybe this one was driven with more like slap a soca on this sucker. Like maybe this was going to be something a little more provocative, but this is what he had to work with.
Yeah. And Gallagher comes back.
Gallagher.
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 I barely know her.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Boo. There's Mama Call for you.
Yeah. Which is weird because Gallagher comes back because Luna y Sol, moon and sun, not as uplifting, I guess.
I would say.
Yeah.
So he kind of breaks the spell of Mama Call with this, cayó la luna, se apaga el farol kind of thing, which is like, we're like, what?
Yeah, no,
what was that? And so it's basically the moon fell, the lantern went out. That's what that means.
Which is what
So-
the dive-bombing bee from
Yeah.
Gallagher did. Yeah.
That's what that sound effect did.
The instrumentation follows this theme, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then here he gets into, does this sound familiar? Everything is a lie in this world. Everything is a lie. The truth. Everything is a lie. I tell myself, everything is a lie. Why should that be?
Yeah.
Waiting for the last wave, waiting for the last song. High the moon, high the moon, high the moon, etc. And then he gets into more talking about lies. So this is like Mentira, the remix.
Yeah.
Where it's a totally different song in every way except lyrically. Lyrically, it's almost exactly the same as Mentira.
For sure. Mentira is repeated a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's what's interesting musically in this. You have some interesting panning. You have chords chunking away in the left ear with a melody in the right until the gang vocals come in. And all of a sudden there's like this noodly electric guitar part that's jamming in your left ear.
I was hoping you'd talk about
That's
it.
kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which I think is intentional, and it doesn't go away, or it comes back later too.
It's like a buzzing bug.
Yeah, and it's not an easy guitar part to play, but it's also not a pleasant guitar part to hear.
It's not that impressive when it's not supported by the song. Because here you had, I'm not going to call it a ballad, but ballad adjacent
Sure.
type of thing going on.
Yeah.
And then, that's about as pesky as a guitar part as I can think of.
Yeah. It's like Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee, but with
Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee.
Yeah, so my notes about the way this
t-shirt.
music was is like this song is really chaotic and energetic, but it's kind of it's like a lot of the songs. I think there are about 3 songs in this album that get chaotic kind of in a bad way, where like there's just a little too much going on, and I think this is one of those. They
Fair
just
enough,
Threw a
yeah.
little too much at it.
this makes you think of the song Haiti off of Funeral by Arcade Fire.
Oh, yeah.
So in our very first episode, we talked about the Funeral by Arcade Fire, and there's this song Haiti, and there's this droning like high like B flat, which I think is supposed to represent a siren, and my interpretation of it is obviously it's about Haiti and all the wonderful things that happen in Haiti. Note the sarcasm, and there's this like calypso vibe going on underneath with this droning like ear-piercing.
No, it's discourse. You will not find comfort in this, right?
Yeah, and it's a choice, and I believe that is a siren that is drowning out anything that's celebratory about being in Haiti. Unfortunately, it's uncomfortable to listen to. This is not.
No, this is not near. I think this, unfortunately, is just a misinterpretation. I think someone thought it'd be a cool line or effect. It may have been in the original Hunter Biden laptop files. It was not in this one, wherever it landed. It does not serve the song very well, which is weird because this song to me serves as kind of like a momentum's end. Like if there was going to be a pause in the album, like two sides, I feel like this is that backstop.
Yeah. And I like there's some cool trumpets in this song.
Yes.
And then there's some banging trumpet happening and way buried in the background.
There are infallible horns across this album.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the shout at the beginning, you'll say it better than I am, but the moon fell and the street light goes out or lantern goes out is like he like shouts it like Block Rockin' Beats, like
another one of Block Rockin' Beats.
Right.
Yeah, and then this song ends with, I actually don't have it in my lyrics here. For some reason that didn't get transcribed. But there is a speech that's basically about the rights of the people. And I think that's the one that I referred to earlier, where, he's saying it's like a Zapatista kind of thing where he's talking about the, how these are our demands. We need shelter, we need food, we need our rights, our basic human rights. And, he says, we demand this from our leaders and, so, this used to be what we requested, and the last 500 years have been a long night. We've been waiting for this, and now we demand this.
Right.
And so it's like, I think politically and in terms of the explicit statements within this album, this is kind of the most political moment. This is the clearest declaration. It's like the Declaration of Independence of the album.
I
agree.
He
clearly didn't get laid in Mama Call is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's like, you know what? I'll focus on the world once again.
Well, what's great about that is it brings you right straight into the very next song,
which we will get to right after this commercial break. This is a public service announcement from the Institute of Poor Decisions. Every year, thousands of Americans suffer from a preventable tragedy, touching their junk after cutting hot peppers. That's right. Spicy guacamole turns into flaming huevos rancheros. If this happens to you, stay calm. Do not scream at your partner, the neighbors, or even God himself. This won't help. Step 2, forget the water. That just spreads the inferno everywhere. You're gonna need milk or yogurt or anything dairy-based. Yeah, even farmer's cheese. Smear it everywhere. Remember, your genitals are not a fajita pan. Handle peppers responsibly before you handle yourself. Ladies too. This message is brought to you by people who should have double bagged their hands. Spice up that salsa, not your sack. I got a gold polyglot card in my third Pokemon pack I ever pulled as a kid. Did you know that?
Nice. Was it a foil one or?
Yeah, I foiled all over my polyglot. Is that how I say it?
Polyglot.
Polyglot.
Is it double T?
No.
No, 1T.
Okay.
Like epiglottis.
Is it a mammal? Does it have his or hers?
It's that one that looks like a tadpole, right?
Yeah, that's the one. I shoot a ton of those things. Polyglots for days.
That's nice because my favorite one's my uvula.
Who would have known the scalpers had to deal with all of this? I wouldn't buy those cards.
But we were talking, well, actually, Nathaniel was talking so eloquently about the ending of Luna y Sol, which transitions beautifully into, why don't you say it because your Spanish is way better than mine.
Por el suelo.
Beautiful, which means?
On the ground.
Right, so we're talking about, hey, these are the rights, like, these are common rights that we should have, and this is really, well, there are many lyrical themes that come out here, but really it starts with this like woman lying on the ground.
Por el suelo hay una compadrita, which means like compadre. You know that word, compadre. Mm-hmm. So like compadrita is like a a little buddy, but female, like a little, like it's like little buddy, but it's a female version of that. So it's like on the ground is a little buddy that nobody stops to see. On the ground is a mamacita, everyone knows what that is. That is dying from lack of respect.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty pointed. Is he talking about the earth? Yes, probably. Is he also talking about maybe female immigrants and their plight and like undocumented female immigrants who end up being homeless on the street? Yes, he's probably also talking about that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty heavy.
Is hey girls, get down on the floor.
Right. It's definitely not that kind of album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Especially with the segue, right? That's getting in here is setting that up, which is really, you talk about the arc of the album and the transitions. It's just so interesting to me how when you're talking about one topic, how this other topic just sort of interrupts. And that's really kind of what happened, I think, when we came from Luna y Sol to that news broadcast. I mean, it wasn't completely non sequitur, but it was definitely an interruption.
Yeah, and also, speaking of interruptions, I'm interrupting you by saying this, by the way, that also there's an announcer voice that's talking about a party that starts this before he says, on the floor is a little buddy, on the floor is a woman who's dying of lack of respect. There's this voice that goes like, and we got, something Sanchez coming out tonight, and we got a party going on, and reggae something, and you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
There's this part where
is my joke not actually that off color? Think about it.
Yeah, because he does that in this.
Club promoter, get on the floor.
It was a club promoter
type of idea.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is, once again, interplay.
He put it right in there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you said that. Subconsciously
That's
remembered
crazy,
that. But he puts it in there, and he's like, he puts in this thing. It's like, and also we got the party tonight, and there's this kind of like high pitched voice of this promoter announcer, and then it comes in with Manu Chao's voice and layering, and then there's an alarm sound. There's like a laid back sound, and the party, there's a laid back sound, and there's this party announcer on top of it, and all of that has nothing to do with the meaning of the song. Because the actual meaning of the song is pretty dark.
Actually, I think it has everything to do with the meaning of the song.
Yeah. Oh, you think so?
I do, because it's showing how life is life, stuff is happening. We're all having a good old time while all of this horrible stuff is also happening.
It's the contrast.
Yeah.
He wants to bring the contrast
There
really
you
in your
go.
face.
Yeah.
Like this, look at what we're doing. We're partying. We're carrying on. Oh, and then also there's another part in here that says, Mamacita te invito a bailar, which means... Which he's saying, Mamacita, he was talking about her, how she was on the floor, she was on the ground and dying of lack of respect. And then later he says, Mamacita te invito a bailar, which means, Mamacita, our little mama, I invite you to dance.
Oh my God, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Literally brilliant. This is like way too much coincidence, right?
No,
especially coming out of the last tune and the way he addresses a female.
Yeah, and what you said about Mother Earth, that so after he says que se muere de no respetar, that dies from not having respect, he says Pachamama te veo tan triste, Pachamama me pongo a llorar, which means Pachamama, which is a South American earth deity. It's like basically Mother Earth, like in Peru and other places like that. They pour out their drink before they drink, and they say it's like for Pachamama, and it's like it's a tradition that persists to this day. It's kind of conflated with the Virgin Mary worship. There's this whole idea about like the Mother Earth, the Virgin Mary, Pachamama, all that. And so he's saying like, I see you so sad. I'm about to cry. I'm starting to cry.
Wow. So there's no question about the fact that this album, I mean, it's just one continuous message now. You can just say concept album-esque immediately.
I think it's just life as he perceives it, right? I saw this interview.
Yeah, it is a concept album too, though, because his next album is different. His next album doesn't touch on these themes this way.
Right.
And these almost seem continuous. Like the only distraction he gets, he's like, okay, disappointment. I'm a street monkey. The world is dying. I want sex. The world's still dying. Revolution. Like it's just like stream of consciousness of a very, very sad person.
Yeah, I feel like Yeah, in this interview I watched with him, he's a hardcore empath and is challenging everything that he feels is wrong and unjust. So, the way he phrased it in the interview is, yeah, there's a lot of politics in my songs, but it's just literally everywhere. I can't avoid it. And so a lot of us can avoid it, right? We choose to avoid it. He chooses not to. So that's why the juxtaposition of having a party promoter going on while this woman's on the ground, and he's like, well, it's a song, I think this is a song about people who are marginalized. And he's like, well, I want to dance with you. I don't know. I feel my take on this whole album is really just as he journeyed through South America and did this whole like walkabout. This was his experience and his thoughts as they were happening. What he witnessed and what he was feeling.
Yeah.
So the rest of the lyrics are pretty interesting in this too. He says, waiting for the last, so listening to the last song, this time not waiting for the last song, listening to the last song. Little mama, I invite you to dance along the ground, on the ground, my people are walking on the ground. The human race is walking. Little mama, we are going to kill you. Little mama, I'm dying of shame. I invite you to dance.
Jesus.
On the ground, hell is burning. On the ground, the human race, or la raza, which literally means the race, but he's kind of talking about like our people, the people. Va ciega goes blind. So we're all going blind. So it's pretty heavy stuff.
That's actually terrifying. That sounds
it's kind of nightmarish when you listen to it and you understand what he's saying.
Actually, the way you just read that, I don't know that I ever want to hear that again.
Okay. Deal.
But musically, it doesn't sound as dire.
No, it doesn't. It's a much easier listen than that.
It's so easy to want to leave that realm and get distracted.
And go to
Tijuana. Welcome to Tijuana.
It's a really good contrast.
Oh my God. Who saw that coming?
Welcome to Tijuana.
The voice.
The gravelly voice. Who is that?
Welcome to Tijuana.
Welcome to Tijuana.
So this song, if you can't tell, is kind of out of right field, but also just fits so beautifully in its own special way.
Yes. And it does sample Tequila by the Champs.
Oh,
yeah.
Sample. It relies on it.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of lyrical stuff to go through there.
I'm surprised this only has 25 million listens.
So I think you actually understood almost all this song, because if you understand Welcome to Tijuana, Tequila, Sexo, Marijuana, then you understand the song pretty much.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other commentary. So
said, welcome to Salisbury University.
I mean, it's why people go to Tijuana.
Yeah.
They didn't say donkey show, but yeah, that's outside of that. I think we're there.
They did not.
No será difícil dar con su domicilio. Miren los basureros. So it won't be difficult to have your home look at the dumpsters.
Yeah.
Oh, so
That's
he's
what
just
that
calling it a
starts with.
shithole?
Yeah, pretty much.
But that leads somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. It's like, I mean, it's this kind of, in this one, it's this really heartless, like, who cares? Just whatever, tequila, sex, and marijuana. Like, let's, go to Tijuana, do that, but it's like, there's apathy about it. And it's a direct counterpoint to the last song. He's talking all about, he's basically, this is kind of a fun song too. It's kind of like a fun, groovy song.
The song Tequila by the Champs like exudes celebration.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. And then as far as the lyrics, there's con el coyote no hay aduana, which means, so coyote literally means coyote, but it's the name that's given to the smugglers who bring immigrants illegally across the border. They're called the coyote.
I actually knew that.
Yeah, and so no hay aduana means there are no customs.
I unfortunately knew that from Cheech and Chong, but I did know that.
Man.
Yeah. But with Coyote there are no customs.
No customs, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rest is pretty straightforward. And then I'm trying to see if there's anything. Bienvenida a mi suerte. Well, suerte is luck. Welcome to my luck.
Yeah, buena suerte.
Bienvenida a la muerte. Welcome to death. Por la Panamericana. La Panamericana is the main artery highway that goes north-south through Mexico and that connects the United States to the rest of the Americas.
Yeah.
So that's worth noting here.
With the exception of the Darien Gap.
Right.
Are you familiar?
No.
So the Darien Gap. So there's this part at the south end of Panama, going to the top of Colombia. There's it's a 60-mile gap where the Pan American Highway does not go through. And what's incredible is it's some of the hardest, most difficult land to traverse. And they've never built a highway through it for a couple of reasons. One, because it's so mountainous, and then also like rainforest and terrible that it's just hard to do construction. And then, of course, Panama and Colombia are not really friends.
It's a nice natural border.
Yeah. But something like 500,000 people come up through South America, through the Darien Gap, walking, just like carrying their children with a desire to essentially come to the United States usually. And they're coming from everywhere. They're not just coming from South America. They're coming from Korea. They're coming from China. They're coming from all over the world. Oops, just hit the mic. They're coming from all over the world to South America, and they cross up through the Darien Gap to then eventually make their way north, and mostly to try to get to the United States.
My God.
Yeah, it's crazy. You should look up the Darien Gap. There's a really cool YouTube documentary on the Darien Gap. It's fascinating.
It's safe to say this whole song is quite tongue in cheek, though.
But then it ends with one of the most earnest parts, which is a sample of someone giving a political speech, and they say, "Nuestra lucha es por el respeto a nuestro derecho a gobernar." Our fight is for respect of our right to govern ourselves, and the bad government that is imposed on us by the rest, the law of the minority. Our fight is for liberty, for thought, and for movement, and the bad government puts us in prisons and graves. Our fight is for justice, for the bad government that is full of criminals and murderers, shelter, land, work, food, health, education, independence, democracy, liberty. These are the demands that we had and this is what I said earlier. This is actually where it happens. And these are our demands for the last 500 years. Now those were our requests. Now they are our demands. So this is where he says that. So it's interesting. He puts this part, which is he samples something like this in other parts of the album.
Yeah.
But here he has this whole political manifesto. And he actually even then says later here, refers to it as this manifesto. And he puts that here at the end of the party song about sex and marijuana and tequila.
That's no mistake.
Yeah.
It's here's what we're going to do to blind ourselves from the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's another
it's
transition too, I believe.
Yeah, that happens kind of into the next song.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that was his manifesto. And just as appropriate today as we're sitting here right now.
Indeed.
In the US of A.
Mm-hmm. Sad day to be here.
Yep. As we move into
Moon Day, Sorrow Day.
Muy bien.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pena is an interesting word. It means like sorrow and shame and pity.
At first,
and
I thought
sadness.
it was Moon Day, Penis Day.
No, that's penne. Not pena, penne.
I had to correct myself. It's like, there's no way.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, it would not be a female word for.
Oh man!
So I was saying about this one, there's a big tone shift from the last song. It suddenly gets really sad and thoughtful, softer vocals, samples of horns, and more upbeat parts from earlier songs, but muted and in the background.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
I feel like this is more an interlude, right? Because we're sampling old songs. You're kind of playing with the fidelity a little bit here.
It's short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trumpets give it some sort of hope. I think, because otherwise this song just feels sad. It without even looking at the lyrics, and if I didn't even know the name of the song, I know this is a sad song.
Should I
Penis
translate
Day.
it? Should I translate it for you quick?
After
Yeah, hit us real quick.
it's not Penis Day.
Today, Moon Day, a day of the moon, a day of shame or sorrow. Today I rise with no reason. Today I rise and I don't want. Moon Day, day of sorrow. And he repeats that. And then today I don't arrive at any destination. Hi the moon. And then that he just repeats what he said. That's it.
In all fairness, I too dislike moon days.
I was going to say
Moon days, yeah, moon days are the worst.
I was going to say, does he just have a case of the Mondays? Is that
He's
what's
got a
happening?
case of the Mondays.
All right, take it from you. I'm sorry,
Because
buddy.
Monday in Espanol is
Lunes.
lunes,
Which
yeah.
is the moon.
Moon
yeah.
day.
And that's where Monday comes from. Moon
Yeah.
day. Yeah. Absolutely. In case anyone didn't know that.
Yeah, actually, all of the days are named after.
Didn't, but
Yeah,
I
moon
thought it
day.
just sounded funny.
All of the days are named after planets. Actually,
Hey,
Well, yeah, in Spanish, lunes, martes. Martes is day of Mars. Miércoles is actually, I think it's like day of miracles or something like that. It's a little
Mercury.
Mercury. Oh, that's it. Yeah. And then there's jueves, which is the day of Jupiter. And then there's viernes, which is I'm not even
Venus.
sure. Venus, is it? Yeah. And then sábado means Sabbath. And Domingo is like it's Sunday.
does Pluto still get no love?
And Pluto gets no love,
But actually,
as usual.
and even if you go into the English translations, there's this really interesting. I think it might have been Neil deGrasse Tyson goes into like how Tuesday actually still works with. It goes to Norse mythology, but it's still all the planets. So
You
Yeah.
can just play the game up and down the court.
Yep.
Well, Thursday is Thor's day.
Thursday. Yep.
Yeah, and Friday is Freya day. It's Freya,
Yep.
the goddess, the wife of Odin.
Yep.
So yeah, ours is very Norse.
Okay.
Yeah. Good to know. The more you know.
I don't know anything. All right.
You know a lot about music, that's for sure, Carl.
I know a little about something. All right, let's move on. Tune number 12. You want to say it?
Well, this isn't actually a word,
Let
is
me look
it?
up what it is. Malegria, which is not a word that I'm aware of. It is a
portmanteau.
pun. It's a portmanteau. Thank you. It is a portmanteau of mal and alegria. Mal is bad or badly, depending on the context. And alegria is happiness.
Yeah.
So it's like bad happiness, which is really the whole album's theme in a nutshell, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're happy, but we're so terrible that
Yeah.
we would ever be happy because look at all the suffering in the world.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
This might be my number 2.
This might be my number 1.
Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I just like the song. I don't
I
really,
just like it.
Yeah, I effectively really love the idea of the rhythmic groove here.
Yeah.
It's one of the kind of standouts of like, oh, I want a whole album of that because it's not reggae, it's not bossa, it's kind of something in between. It has just enough little funky tone to it. I like this tune a lot. It feels really well placed in the album, which is always a big piece for me. You end up with this happy music, sad theme, as always. And you can tell it's sad, not because, well, I did read the lyrics alongside it. I didn't make any notes on them. But the way he's singing them. He's just kind of slightly morose the whole time.
Is there a Cuica on this?
There is definitely
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I wrote here lots of distracting sound effects, beeping, barking, and honking. There's a chicken-like electric guitar
Can
in
we
there.
talk about the accordion? I love this tune. It's such a bright light on this album. I don't want to know how you're going to destroy me in translation.
so- Bad
okay,
joy.
so I had to look up this word. Jerez means sherry. So this is a drinking song.
Oh, like
That's
sherry,
why you like
traditional
it.
sherry. Yeah, of course, me.
That's
Hi.
why you like it. It's about drinking sherry.
Okay.
It's about wandering around the streets, sad, but trying to make yourself happy by drinking lots of sherry. That's basically the meaning of the
I'm
song.
happy.
So it's por la calle de
Basically, the meaning
desengaño.
of the last 20 years of my life.
Through the street of disappointment, this morning I passed with malegria, which like sad happiness, like bad happiness, once again. Through the street of disappointment, and in the bad happiness, I got drunk inside a glass of sherry.
I remember catching that line. For some reason on the Spotify, I didn't catch the sherry part though.
Yeah, and then when you talk to me, that's a refrain. And then eventually it becomes like a really crazy refrain, says it a lot. It's like really insistent.
That seems to be a theme of his.
And then he kind of repeats like, through the street of disappointment. Tomorrow I will go for a walk with bad happiness again, and with a glass of sherry.
Fantastic.
So this is Bourbon Street.
Basically.
Yeah, on repeat.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to see if there's anything new.
No females on the ground.
No.
Tu risa me da risa, tu valor me da calor, dame otro beso de licor. So that's a new idea, and that's your happiness gives me, your laughter gives me laughter. Your bravery gives me heat, or like makes me hot. Give me another kiss of liquor.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you earlier.
Yeah.
That's about right.
That's about right.
The funny part is that's not aimed at a person. That's just aimed actually at the spirit of alcohol itself.
Pretty much, yeah. The spirit of alcohol.
The funny part is, though he will tend to write about multiple subjects, he actually doesn't write about two at the same time almost ever. Like, that could have been a play on someone's love, right? Your kiss or whatever. Mm-hmm. He could have dove so much harder into that.
This could be Sober by Tool.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But
why is it sherry? Like, maybe you guys can tell me, because I've never really been a sherry drinker, so I'm not sure like what the
I don't
idea
know
is
culturally
here.
if that
Maybe culturally it's
Sherry
like in
and-
Spain or in France it's like a little more of a
Oh yeah, I mean,
thing.
in France and Spain, sherry, brandy,
Yeah.
like noble liquors are still very big.
Okay, that's
Sherry
why
made
then.
a tiny comeback in the States a few years ago, but
Yeah.
like no one really jumped on it.
We should have gotten Dave on this one.
He'll be on soon enough, I'm sure. How long do we have to wait for Nirvana's Nevermind?
12 years.
But say he'll be on in 10 years. But yeah, sherry, brandy. I host these or co-host these like whiskey and spirit clubs, and whenever we pull from that area, that's what you're gonna end up finding. You know, we just did Peruvian pisco and stuff the other day, and now I've got all this. I have 2 bottles of sherry. I have a great bottle of brandy in my house, cognac, stuff that we just don't booze on over here.
Yeah. And also I think it's interesting that this is a good time to mention this, that his use of the word sherry, jerez in Spanish, as opposed to any of the other things he could have said, like cerveza or chelas. Like chelas is like how you would say beers in Mexican Spanish usually. So like he's not talking about any of that. He's talking about sherry specifically. So it's one of those things where Manu Chao may want to make this album very Mexican and South American, but he can't help the fact that he is born of Spanish parents in France, and it comes through in certain things culturally, in like his
note.
choice of words and things like that.
So this is what I meant to ask you is, so Mexican Spanish and Spain Spanish, there's definitely pronunciation
Yes,
differences.
he has a Spanish accent, by the
Okay,
way. He
yeah,
drops his S's a lot. So like there's a perfect example. Cuando tú me hablas, when he says that, it's like cuando tú me hablas. That's how a Mexican person would probably pronounce that, like cuando tú me hablas. But then he's Spanish, and he's from a particular region of Spain, probably where his parents are, where they drop their S's a lot. So like me habla instead of hablas.
Yeah.
And that's also, you see that a lot in Cuba. So like people think I'm from Cuba when I speak to people in Spanish. If I'm doing a good job and I don't make any mistakes, they think I'm Cuban, because I lived in Miami and I have that influence. And they do that a lot
Little
too.
Cuba.
Yeah. They drop that. They drop the S's. They have a lot of Spanish in their, they have a lot of Spanish from Spain in their accent. And he has that too.
So the word for movie,
Película?
to go to the movies.
Oh.
Like I'm going to the movies would be
Cine?
cine.
Right, I say cine, but he would say cine.
Cine. Right, that's what I'm
Probably.
asking. My ears.
Yeah.
Are you getting that? In this?
I don't know. Does he say a C like the, and does he say like a Z like the? I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice
I just
either, but
noticed him
yeah.
dropping his S's, which is a Spanish thing.
Okay.
But as far as like maybe he's dropping his theta kind of sound, like where he's doing the TH sound.
Yeah.
He's dropping that because he wants to sound more South American for this album.
Could be.
I'm not sure. It's interesting. But I mean, I think you'd have to ask an actual native speaker of Spanish for that kind of nuance. Sorry.
No, I mean your ears 1,000 times better than mine. I was just curious about that.
All right. Next up,
Yeah, what's the next song?
you tell me. I'm not doing any more of this.
La vie à deux.
Thank you. So much better than mine.
Yeah, so this
And you
is
had to go
another
over
French one.
En français for that.
Yeah,
So what
and
is this,
I had to
Carl?
look this up a lot.
The life of two.
Life for two, maybe.
So la vie à deux means like life. It's kind of like life as two, like life when you're two people, like life in a couple.
Yeah,
Got it.
I
Okay.
think that's what it means, really, more than anything.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been doing that
I'm
for
not
a
sure
few
that
years.
the couple's working out very well.
So I had to go to Google Translate for this, and luckily the Google Translate, I think, did a much better job with French than it did with Spanish. Or maybe it's just because I could fact check the Spanish and I couldn't really do as much with the French. But it looks like it gave me a really comprehensible thing here as a translation. So like, give me something to hold on to. I don't want to sleep. Let me see the day come. So our life together ends in the great plains of the sorrows to be enjoyed. A life that no longer means anything. I hope I never make someone suffer again how I made you suffer. I was just a bad omen. We loved each other. Then came the storm. I loved your smile so much. I hope I never make someone suffer again how I made you suffer. And then it goes on like that.
This is really the slow dancing. This is my number one.
This is your number one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love this song.
This is a great tune.
It's like it's got this like a nice rhythm to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's a really rhythmic. I wonder, actually, in some ways, for just like looking at the English translation, I felt like this was more. You know how there's poetry and there's prose, and there's this difference in thinking between those, even though it's almost like a spectrum between poetry and prose. But I felt like this song was much more on the prose side, and everything else in the album is more poetry.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, and like this one was more like actually telling a literal story that you could follow if you speak French.
Yeah.
You know, and that you could actually like.
This is a letter.
Yeah, it's like a letter. It's
Yeah.
like and then it has some repetition, but not that much, and it's mostly just a straightforward explanation of ideas.
He's very prone to repetition. Every single song
Yeah,
it seems to be
he
his
is.
key and theme. Also, what started out as what seemed like a pretty respectful relationship, he just dive bombs. In the gentlest of words, but still, I'm sorry to have made you struggle is not exactly the coolest way to clean it up.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm sorry you were offended.
Oh, a non-apology apology?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say that the thing that really struck me was the cadence of the vocals here. Really, really a nice tune.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have a ton to say on this one. I just this one makes me just feel a certain way. This was the first one that listening to in the background while doing dishes or whatever that I stopped for.
It has it's not quite like a cafe feel.
Yeah.
But it has all the characteristics of it that I like off bossa without being that, you know, like
Yeah.
It has a very driving rhythm.
Yeah, precisely. And so you don't end up getting like this beat I wanted because like in my head I could remix this.
Yeah.
But at the same point in time, it you know what it is? It's like it never stops. It's almost like a mantra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has
Does that
that
make
feeling.
sense?
It's
Yeah.
a perpetual motion machine.
There you go.
Yeah.
And there's something very satisfying about it.
Yeah.
His presentation across the board, it's so funny with we've never in our experience in the show yet gone this deep into a lot of this lyrical content, which has been a joy to have you do this. But when you listen to the breadth of if 1 is slightly sad and 10 is hellish despair, it's fantastic. He rarely says happy things. It's fantastic how he can go from one to the other, but vocally seem indifferent.
Yeah,
you don't, like
this isn't like Damaged.
This isn't like Damaged at all. This isn't like Slipknot would do it. I mean, like, or even like Tony Braxton would do it. Like, he's, but it's not that he's indifferent.
It's pretty French though. Like, I don't know if you know any French people, but like, if you're gonna say, if you're gonna say some of this stuff, like, I hope I never make someone suffer again how I made you suffer. Like, if you said that in English, you'd be like, I hope I never make someone suffer again how I made you suffer, like really earnest. But, a French delivery of that would probably not be that. It'd be like, I hope I never make you suffer. I hope no one ever makes you suffer again. I made you suffer so badly, Like, it's almost like
matter of fact.
Like
more matter
of
of
fact
fact
in the line.
more nonchalant. And that is a French word as well.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well, not that, but yes. And that is a French word as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Damn.
It's like culturally, I think it's on the
Savage.
money because it's like actually not. I mean, a lot of French music is like this. It's like, and also he is, he's from France. I mean, he was born there, and it's like he's. I'm sure he grew up among, within that musical tradition. I also when I read up on him, apparently he was pretty influenced by like a lot of that traditional French jazz kind of stuff that we hear. That's like.
No.
It's interesting. You can hear that in this too.
I agree. He probably sang this with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a good joke there, I won't say. However,
No.
let's move on.
Okay. None of us know this language, right?
No.
Well, no, I know some.
Oh, you do know? Okay.
Yeah. Well, this actually, I had to look up the lyrics, and I had to, but I do understand some Portuguese because Portuguese and Spanish are so closely related. So, like, once you know enough Spanish, you already know a bunch of Portuguese.
Yeah.
But basically, this is a song in Portuguese, and it's a listing things kind of song. Which, if you're familiar,
Mina Galera.
yeah, Minha Galera.
Minha Galera.
So song number 14, Minha Galera. It lists a lot of things. And if you're familiar with Me Gustas Tu,
Is that
which
like
is
End
Manu
of the World
Chao's-
as We Know It by REM?
Well, this is
list a lot of
it's like
things
translates
in
either like my people or my crew is what that.
yeah, my crew. That's what I got. That's the translation I got. So like, so like the Portuguese is O minha maconha, minha torcida, minha querida, minha galera. And what's interesting to note here is that everything that he says is always my something. So the whole song is just my and then a noun. So it's like my and then something. And it's all feminine.
My
So it's
neck,
minha, because if it were
my back.
kind of
socks.
So yeah, so he says, oh, so it starts with oh my marijuana,
Yep.
my cheerleader, my dear, my crew, oh my waterfall, my girl, my flamenco, like I guess it's flamenca, basically, like flamenco, the musical style. My capoeira is a like Brazilian dance fighting. Oh my girl, my dear, my Valeria, oh my mouth, and then a bunch of things that couldn't translate. And it just keeps going on like that. My Mambembe, which is, I think, the name of one of his later bands. It's like a, and then he just kind of repeats that.
So he's legit just naming things he
So
likes.
he's just naming things. It's like an ode. It's like an ode to my girl and the stuff that I like that reminds me of my girl.
It's a
kind of.
cheers
Yeah.
in its own little way.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, I looked at it more as like an ode or a love song,
Yeah.
even to his people or to his community,
And to his marijuana as well.
and to his marijuana, for
of
sure.
course.
That's his
obviously.
people and his community.
And his girl.
Yeah,
This-
very.
This
The
has,
new girl. Because obviously he had a bad breakup. So
Yes.
right?
got to give him some
And he
space.
potentially left one or two on the floor.
Oh my God. We're already making it too soon. Already making fun of it.
Too soon. It's 98, bro. This thing will be 30 before you know it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That little senorita will be like seriously well employed, or not. We'll never know.
This actually has the most harmony.
There was harmony in this tune. How about that?
I mean, it's just 1 4 6 5, but then we have a deceptive resolution, which I love because he resolves to the minor 6, which is nice in the refrain.
Hurrah!
I mean, most of the rest of these songs are just 2-chord.
No, I agree. There's one of my critiques of this album will be he did. And by the way, he did a lot with a very little chordage.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not no Dan's deep dives anytime soon on this one.
No, but it's not boring.
No. I meant it when I said he did a lot with a little.
Yeah.
He was incredibly convincing.
You guys have not analyzed this music. I don't know if it's because I'm here and you're trying to give me space to analyze the lyrics and like the lyrical content, but actually you guys haven't talked about this musically, this album musically. We're almost at the last song. As much as the other podcasts that I've listened to from you.
With that said, I will make my argument here, and I worried about this. Partially, yes, happy to respect your space, and furthermore, I think it's nice to hear about the content because it's insanely deep, right?
Yeah,
it's not what you think
this is
it would
pretty
be.
important. I think the lyrics are heavier than the music in this because, like, most of these songs are actually 2-chord or 3-chord songs with lots of looping. So there isn't really that much to analyze from a musical perspective, I would think.
No,
But
not really.
I'm not sure.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is like
That's why I mentioned it on this song because
Yeah.
there's a deceptive resolution to a minor 6.
Suddenly.
I try to look for things that have backbeat reggae flow, some sort of ska stuff, some sort of rock stuff at times. And the thing I'm drawn to the most, and I wouldn't call this a clear as day or even a clear as night comparison, would be like the radio songs of Sublime, right?
Yeah.
And if you listen to the radio songs of Sublime, they're way more complicated than this.
Yeah.
Like Santeria has more chords than pretty much every song on this album. It's 2 different parts.
Yeah.
You're hard pressed in half these songs to get any meaningful chord changes. And that's okay because you can set up a groove that way. And I think that's what we've done here. We have a really, really nice musical background that I think is well mixed. Mm-hmm. I like the instrumentation. It's really easy to like it all because it's simple and it's balanced. I like the way that they use the audio spectrum here, especially considering this is from 98 and it's horribly indie. It never does a song pop out in an audio way that feels like your friend Brandon suddenly got their shot at the mix.
It was recorded on a laptop before you could record albums on a laptop. And
it sounds like it was recorded on the same laptop and the same mic the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the snot out of that.
Yeah.
It's I think for me, you're going to get remarks about your production when all of a sudden it changes a ton, or we know you had a big budget.
Or you have 11 drum parts in one song that don't make any sense.
Ah, I knew we were going right there. Sorry, Miranda. And is there anything remarkable about this sonically? No. But guess what? It sounds like a consistent piece of art. It reminds me, there's this great artist out of Canada called Chaos, K-O-S. This guy's name's Kevin. He's fantastic. And he likes to explore multiple styles of music, but he always seems to kind of come back to this little world he lives in. And you get pieces of reggae, pieces of blues, and a lot of jazz and hip hop. That's his element. And I spent a lot of my younger years with some very good friends and my brother. Really, I mean, we've seen him live countless times. We memorized every word, every song, multiple albums. And he was so beautifully indie. Now, he did some musical stuff that I think was a little more fascinating than this. But I think it gave me the permission to give this a free pass because I liked it immediately. From the first tune, I was like, yep, I like this. Because it feels a little low budget and it feels very earnest.
Yeah.
What else could you ask for?
Yeah.
And I happened to have read some lyrics and been like, this is lyric, and knew you were coming in. And it was like, we should probably just spend some time speaking about messaging here.
Yeah. And I think the only thing I would say technically across this album, I mentioned it already a little bit, which is his rhythmic treatment of lyrics, where if you're paying attention, he's not just singing the syllables, he's stretching things out. We talked a little bit about with Jefferson Airplane how Grace uses a lot of different techniques. If I bounce back to Porossuelo, he has this like quarter note triplet that he's doing over the rhythm, the ba 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 ba. He has that rhythm that's going on, and it's really, actually, to me, it's upsetting intentionally, like, rhythmically upsetting, but it's actually helping tell the story and drive this tension. And he does it, I think, really well across this whole album of manipulating time with his vocal delivery. And I think that's the most sophisticated thing he does on this album is that across the board, many times. We probably should have talked about it on every song. There's some version of how he is delivering the lyrical content that is, to me, the most interesting part of the musical landscape.
I will say it's kind of funny that Spanish spoken songs sound a little more Latin influenced. The French songs always sound very French. Mm-hmm. Even the English songs sound like copies, like what I was saying, like Beck and stuff. Like there's like Helmet moments in there. Like he's a shapeshifter. He's a chameleon. And it all tells a story.
Yeah. Well, I think that comes very naturally when someone is a polyglot.
Polyglot. All right, we need to get a polyglot T-shirt, and I want to let the Chat GPT decide what a polyglot animal looks like. Mm-hmm. To me, it has frog-like characters. Like it has like the big old eyes. It looks like my Pokemon.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
polyglot Pokemon.
Oh, one more thing about Mina Galera musically. I thought there was like a funny horn part where he did vocal effects. Like, do you guys know the Mills Brothers? And like really old, 1920s to 1950s group. It was brothers and cousins who all did this a cappella thing, and they did a lot of imitation of trumpet parts. And they did like
mouth trumpet,
like mouth trumpet,
okay.
and he does his own version.
That's
Manu
right.
Chao does a mouth trumpet on this song, right. And it was like immediately made me think of like older stuff, like from the 30s that I've listened to that has that. And it's just so funny because I think he does it pretty well, but you don't hear that a lot. And it's like,
that's right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
he does that.
Seaside Rendezvous by Queen.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice call.
There you go.
I'm so glad.
So anyway, what did you think of the mouth trumpet? Do you like Manu Chao's mouth trumpet?
I mean, yours is pretty damn good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Muy bien. Yep. I'm a fan. Shall we move on?
We shall.
We have Dos left.
La despedida.
The farewell.
Yeah.
This one does not have Justin Bieber in it.
It's time to dip. That's what the song is, right?
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. Ya estoy curado, anestesiado, which is a great word there. Anesthetized. So I am cured, anesthetized. I've already forgotten about you. Today I say goodbye from your absence. I am at peace. Now I don't wait for you anymore. Now I don't call you. Now you don't fool me. And then it just goes on from there. It's basically that kind of song.
I want you to know I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you both.
Is she perverted like me? Oh, Alanis Morissette makes her way on one more time.
That's kind of what I got out of this one.
You get that in the style of like bolero with a accordion.
Yes.
And then later in the song it goes, Te espero siempre, mi amor. I wait for you always, my love. Yeah. Cada hora, cada día, every hour, every day. Te espero siempre. Cada minuto que yo viva, every moment that I'll live.
Sucker.
So he does a little retraction there.
Sucker.
Backtracking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out there and drink more sherry.
Right.
And then the answer machine comes in.
Yeah.
This is the part I thought sounded just like the bomb from Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Beep. hola, Manu, soy Juanjo. Manu? Bueno, pues mira, no contesta. Le mando un fax. Hasta luego. Which literally means hi Manu, I am Juanjo. This is Juanjo. Manu, well, okay, look, don't answer. I'll send you a fax. Okay, see you later.
Send you a fax.
I'll send you a fax.
Next time Dan asks me to promote our podcast on Instagram,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with that. I'll send you a fax.
Send you a fax. I only have
That's how he
to
ends it.
I only have to remind you twice a week.
Only twice a week.
Every week.
Every single week. Without
So-
fail.
My musical notes here were lots of clicking and percussion effects, more background and murmuring and singing. There's an angrier tone to Manu Chao's singing.
Yeah.
He says he is cured and over his love, but then says, I wait for you always, which is the opposite. He's slowing down the tone and leading into the last song, which is very slow. The last song is like a lot. Yeah, very.
The last song is
The wind. Is that what that means?
El Viento.
Yes, I
El
knew it.
viento, the wind, yeah.
And this is about chronic farting.
Galaga is back.
So more traditional sounds to the guitar here. He's got some church bells in there. A lot of wind sounds, even at the beginning, especially at the end where it's just wind. And a lot of background noise and crowd sounds. And this one I like. I've actually played this on the guitar. A couple of these songs I played on the guitar.
This is a good song.
And sung for not for anything particular, just for fun. But yeah, this one, lyrically, it's el viento viene, el viento se va por la frontera. El viento viene, el viento se va. So like the wind comes, the wind goes across the border. And then he says, el hambre viene, el hombre se va. So hunger comes, the man leaves. Without more reason, hunger comes, the man leaves. The route to Babylon along the road.
We're back in Babylon.
Back to Babylon.
Back to Babylon.
And then luck comes, luck goes across the border. And then he says, along the road. And that's pretty much it. So lyrically, that's it. Pretty simple.
He's
It's
out.
kind of optimistic. You're kind of like rooting for him at this point, though.
Of course.
I haven't been rooting for the
He's
whole
done
time.
a pretty good album. So I think we can root for him.
The album itself, I'm a fan of. I'm saying, having learned so much about his journey throughout this album,
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens. You just go like brood in a new town and you get the hell out and do it again.
Yeah.
He's like Kane in Kung Fu, just
He
like
just has to want.
I like how Manu Chao draws a parallel between the forces of nature, like the wind, luck, and people's journeys across the world. And he's basically kind of saying people migrate, and they migrate for various reasons, but it's just like the wind flows across the border. The wind flows across the border. Why shouldn't people flow across the border? It's natural. And I think that that's kind of what he's setting up here as an idea.
Damn, how do you know anything but that?
I don't know, but we do have to wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, Nathaniel, would you hit it?
Yes.
He already has.
I'd say. Daniel, would you hit it?
So if I break it down, I really enjoyed this album. I enjoyed listening to this album. And so if we break it down into, does it belong on the list? Does it belong where it is on the list? Versus would I buy it and listen to it? I can see why it's on this list compared to some other albums that were here. So Rolling Stone likes to sort of play with, we've struggled with the greatest album and what we think the greatest album of all time is. And if I went by my pure definition when I started this 7 episodes prior, no, this would not belong on this list. But now if I change my perspective and look at it as the impact it's had, 5 million albums is not nothing. We've talked about albums that have sold way less than this. I think the impact that it's had and what he's done does make it a very important album. And I do think people should listen to this album. I think it's really good music. And if you spend some time with it, and if you really spend time with it with a freaking translator, and go through it, I think it's a very compelling album. The music, the reason we have not broken it down, is not out of this world. It's completely accessible. Anyone could play it, right? It's not, that's why we didn't talk. There's not much to talk about here. So from that perspective, not super impressive. I do enjoy this album. I understand why it's on the list. I don't know if I would put it on the list, but I understand why it's on the list. But I would buy the album.
There you go. Now that I know the album, I would buy the album. Just because, I don't really have anything in my mind I can think of off the top of my head that is in the same category. It's quite unique. And once you have the backstory and kind of actually all the dark and disparaging tones of it, it's kind of a cool piece to have. So I'll start with, would I buy it? Yeah, I think I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
I will buy it. Second piece, I'm fascinated by this album, and hilariously so, but also not too indifferent than you. It's not because it makes me think musically. It's quite the opposite. It's musically comfortable. I can think of very few things on the album that got in my way. I really enjoy it as a vibe. And to know that there's kind of like a bigger thing going on in the background that I won't sit down and go translate out again. But to know it's about mainly a very anxious person's absolute fear of what's going on in this world, but they still have the power and the freedom and the wherewithal to travel and to move is really important. I also think, and this gets 5 points off of me right here, it's because of right now. I've never had to be sensitive to the idea of migrant. I'm from a very great area, just like you. And you. We're good here. And so I think right now, having listened to it under these terms and being part of this conversation has been really compelling. So yeah, I'm going to give it all 3 marks. I do believe it belongs on the list. I do believe I would buy it. And I think it stands where it needs to on the list. I think it's falling in this upper echelon of esoteric and weird, but it's an earmark. I think this is going to be something that we are going to be happy we listen to. I'm happier as a person having heard this album.
Before you get in, there is another list that this made, which is 1001 albums you should listen to before you die.
See, now that, I don't care where it's placed, that's a perfect description.
Anywhere on that list, this absolutely belongs.
And frankly, a little further up, because this is the social commentary demands it, right?
Yeah.
It just makes you kind of feel and think. I also just really like the way this album is constructed. It's a flow. It's a flow state. Yeah. And by the way, really hard to do that when releasing an album. It's not easy to put out recordings that have splits like that in them in a digital world.
On
you
a
have to
laptop,
really think of,
yeah.
You have to really think about that. Yeah. So kudos to this. This is a great piece.
Yeah.
Any last words from our renowned first live guest?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And this is an album that's meaningful to me. This is one that I did actually go out and buy. I bought it when I was maybe 15, and it came out when I was 7. So, it's relevant to me, and I think it's still relevant to everyone because it talks about themes like, human rights, women's rights, climate change, migration, immigration, the status of undocumented immigrants. It's really relevant still, which I think is a great test of a good work of art.
Say no more, fam.
Add in due process, and you got 2025.
Oof. Speaking of due process, which album will we process next week?
Next week, we're going to be talking about this band that most people have not heard of. The band is called the Rolling Stones.
Yes. I think I may. No, it's okay.
There's a magazine.
Right. Oh, the magazine. I've heard of that.
Yeah. And Bob Dylan had a song called Like a Rolling Stone.
Like a Rolling Stone.
Nathaniel's not really into Dylan at all.
But this is the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. with an album called
With an S.
Some Girls. Yes. Which is interesting because this is not a first album. This is a mid album. I'm sure we will, not mid as in it's so mid. It's a mid, like more
Middle
mid-career.
of their career as a band.
Yeah. Even though they won a Grammy in 2020.
It happens to be like some of my favorite time of the Stones. So this is going to be great.
Yeah, this is 1978, 10 tracks.
Great
Some
year.
Girls.
I was almost born.
My very first car was a 1978 Monte Carlo.
Ugh. My very first car was, I think, the year he was born, a 1991 Ford Escort.
All right.
Well, from the Backwards Beats podcast live studio, I am Carl Carter Fansteel.
I'm Dan Woodard.
Nathaniel Danciger.
So happy to have you today, Nate. And we will catch you next week.
That was the show about the album Clandestino by Manu Chao. Pachamama, marijuana, amo mi galera.
Backwards Beats Podcast is a Tuna-Wood production recorded live at Thought Shack Studios in Halethorpe, Maryland.
If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You can find us at Backwards Beats Podcast on most platforms.
Share the love, and we'll see you next week for another deep dive into the next album on Rolling Stone Magazine's Top 500 list. Until then, salt your melons.